to talk a little bit about the final stages of selling a home. And this really starts actually at the beginning or even before you start to think about selling your house. And that is preparing documentation such as receipts, lien waivers for any recently done updates within a home. So getting yourself organized, even if you're not thinking about selling at the moment, but you may somewhere down the line, with getting a great file or scanned file for all your receipts, and ask for lien waivers on any major repairs. So let's move forward. So your house is under contract, we're prepping you to close. The next real step is the communication between us, the agent, and the title company. And they are going to require some documentation from you. Initially, they're going to have you fill out a seller information letter. And that's really just to make sure they're prepared to be able to transfer title, give clear title to the new buyer. So they're going to ask you some personal questions and information, including social security numbers. They're going to ask you also, is this your primary residence? Have you bought it through a 1099 tax exchange? Are you a U.S. citizen? Have you ever claimed bankruptcy? Or have you been divorced during the ownership of the property? In some cases, they may ask for additional information to go along with those questions. Also, if your house is in a trust, they will require some documentation or paperwork to transfer the house properly from the trust. So let's forward on and go to almost close date. So a few days before closing date, they are going to send you a legal document, an ALTA or a HUD-1. That gives you all the breakdowns of the charges and the fees. This is time for you to review that just to make sure that everything has been done properly. With that, when you're coming to closing, you are going to need a proper ID. So driver's license or state issued ID. You will also need to bring for wiring a copy of your checking account, a check with the word void across it, so they can attach that to their wiring instructions. Or you can communicate with your bank to get a direct letter from them for wiring. Wiring is one of the biggest issues that we see in real estate today when it comes to tax fraud and real estate fraud. So you want to make sure that you aren't just freely giving out those wiring instructions by an email or a phone call of someone that you haven't spoke to or is a secured person within your transaction. So I always tell people, if somebody asks you for something, whether it be the title company and they need a social security number or account information, call me first so I can verify that information for you that you're speaking to the right person. So we've made it. We're sitting at the closing table. We're here, we're preparing all the documents, you're signing all the documents to be able to transfer title. There are some questions, and this is one of the questions that I get asked all the time: capital gains. Now, we're not tax accountants, neither is the title company. So this is someone that you want to talk to well in advance to find out if there's anything you should be doing differently to avoid any kind of capital gains. It's easy here now. They ask you a couple of questions to know if they even need to submit for you a 1099. So if you've owned and occupied the property for 2 of the last 5 years, if it hasn't been used for business or rental, if you are selling it for specific sale prices, those are all going to be questions that they go over in the closing. So please, if you have any questions about that, reach out to your tax professional so that you feel comfortable during the entire transaction. Closing can be very stressful because there's a lot going on with moving, documentation, signing, but it's a really, really easy process that we want you to enjoy throughout your transaction. So if you have any questions about the process, the steps, what's going to happen at closing, how do we deal with any kind of title issues or problems, feel free to reach out direct. We want to be your experts in helping you make this a smooth transaction.